everybody, and welcome to this short session about core challenges. As we could see in the book, strategy is about identifying and trying to overcome your core challenges. The question is, what is a core challenge? What's the difference, if you wish, between a challenge and a core challenge? Well, actually, when you ask CEOs about what keeps them awake at night, they might have lots of different sorts of reasons. Well, actually, this is what we call the challenges. So typically, we all have a number of challenges that we see in our business. The point is, a core challenge. A core is typically 3 challenges which, if are not solved, well, your business might just go bust in the next 2 to 3 years. They are really core. They are the ones that prevent you to deliver a competitive advantage, for instance, prevent you from growing faster, and so on. So the core challenges are not like that any challenge. They are the most important that you have. There are different ways to understand if a challenge is a core one or just a challenge. One way is to use the 3 whys. Okay? Asking yourself, why are we doing this or are we not doing this? And why? Our sales are not growing. Why? Well, we don't manage to cover all the regions well enough. We're not present enough. Well, why? Well, actually, the sales force is not there. Well, why? Well, the sales force might not be organized in the most optimal way. The sales force covers equally all territories, and maybe the sales force should be focusing more on some than others. Why? Well, the management of the sales force and their capabilities are not there. So the first one is the 3 whys. Okay? And another way to identify whether a challenge is a core one is what we call the effect-cause effect. So typically you take what we believe is a core challenge and you try to understand the cause of it. Okay? You observe a cause. If this cause actually generates other effects that you've seen, it might be a core one. It might be a core challenge. Okay? So if not, it might just be a symptom and not really the cause. So that's why it's really critical to identify the core challenges to make sure that you treat the cause and not the symptoms. Obviously, you might end up with too many core challenges. And as we know, focus is absolutely key. If you end up with more than 3 core challenges, you might just not solve any of them. How do you select them? How do you screen them? Typically, we propose to have 3 different filters of screening. One is about value. If I solve this core challenge, will it help me deliver superior value rather than solving this one? The second screen could be the resources and the capabilities that you have. Okay? Do I have the resources and capabilities in the next year to help me overcome this core challenge? If not, better off addressing another core challenge. The third screen that you might be using is what we call the invisible hand, typically the culture of the company. You might think that, well, solving this core challenge will help me in obviously delivering the superior value, but the culture is that I'm not yet prepared to solve it, because I'm going to find a solution, but the solution is not going to be implemented well. Maybe we might have a good pilot, but then the rollout will fail because we do not have yet, for instance, a culture of execution. Okay? 2 examples come to my mind when it comes to core challenges. One is about a pharmaceutical company in Europe. And next year, they are facing a very strong competition on one of their key drugs. This drug actually results in or provides 80% of their sales. So there are 2 competitors coming in and this drug is going to be heavily challenged. The core challenge is not really the fact that the competitors come into the game, but the fact that today the company doesn't have a sales force which is well enough on the field. So the company knows very well that their presence in the field with hospitals and doctors is not as good as the one of competitors. So one of the core challenges that the company faces immediately is, how do I beef up, how do I strengthen my presence in the field in order to prevent my competitors from taking too much market share of me. The second example that comes to my mind is this company in the food business going to the United States. The company is kind of struggling to grow their profits. Why? Well, their sales are not big enough to achieve good economies of scale. Why? Well, looking at the territory in the US, vast territory obviously, the company started to realize that they are not present in all channels and in all geographical markets. So the point is, one of their core challenges is really they have a sales organization today that allows them to achieve at best $500 million. If they want to reach to the 1 billion threshold, how do I better organize my sales and commercial team, maybe using contractors as well, in order to be better present and achieve more sales and therefore achieve more profits? Thank you.